Sure. I don't remember, but I'll say something. I have no idea what I'm... Come on. Let her rip, man. Let her rip. The whistle's blown. The game is underway. The kick is off. We're here with the Northwest Football League Thunderbolts game, home opener against the King County Jaguars. And it looks like number 4, Rod Nightingale, is going to bring back the opening kickoff out to the 40-yard line for the Thunderbolts. Tim Adams here with Drew Riley.
28 yards on that kickoff return by Nightingale. Looked like he could have gotten more, but we'll take it. 28 yards out to about the 40-yard line.
This is really a nice facility. I think the Thunderbolts ought to move in here permanently. Got a nice view of the forest across the way. And
the freeway off to the side.
Or view of the freeway.
Top of your screen.
But there's more speed on this field than there is over there.
This is true.
Number 52, Rod Wilson, snapping. He's number 52, the center. He starts the plays off. Number 3, Wade Sparks, the quarterback. Gonna throw. Got Nightingale. Nightingale loses his feet after he lost a couple yards on the RAC.
I noticed during warm-ups, some of the players were trying to do cuts and moves and stuff like that, and they were falling down all over the place. So there might be something about this turf. This turf is new. It's only like a year and a half old, and maybe just hasn't been broken in enough yet, but you just saw another one right there.
Either that or they just watered it. Well, anyway, it's going to be 2nd down and 4. Pitch outside to Harden. Alonzo Harden's got a big hole up the middle, and I thought he was going to get out, but he got about 10 yards.
I'll tell you something, Tim. This is beginning to look just like last week when we played the Milwaukee Panthers. I'll emphasize Milwaukee. The Jaguars don't look like they're really big up front, and as we know, the Thunderbolts are absolutely huge. All of their offensive linemen, at least the ones that are playing right now, I believe, are 300 pounds or heavier.
Well, Jason Lang, number 79, is listed at 400. And on the other tackle, Matt Matthews is listed at 360. They also have a tight end in there. Oh, Sparks pressure from behind. Didn't even see it, but he got it away to Harris. Andre Harris. Touchdown, Thunderbolts.
45-yard pass. Easy. He just got behind his defender. And, yeah, that did look too easy.
Looked like number 23, Amakir Harris. And, boy, he got beat like a drum, and ball was right on the money. It's good to see that Thunderbolt passing game come alive.
3 plays, 60 yards. That's got to be way too easy.
Well, and the only reason the first play didn't score 10 yards is because the receiver fell down. So now we have the return of Jeff Woods, last year's MVP on special teams. Been touring the country looking for kicking jobs with bigger football. And as usual, Woods clears the back fence as well as the goalpost. And it's just like that, 7-0 Thunderbolts. Okay, 7-0 Thunderbolts, 13:41. Hard to see the clock. 13:41 left. Big kickoff by Jeff Woods. And number 6, Mike Dwyer. 3 yards deep in the end zone, and it looks like Calvin Armstead down on the special teams.
I don't think he should have ran that one out. He just should have taken the kneel down at the 20. Now they're going to have the ball at about the 13-yard line instead. I don't know what he saw there. He might have seen something, but it closed up fast.
Well, now the Thunderbolts going on defense, and thus far they've been good up front, especially up front. But their secondary hasn't been tested particularly. The Bengals wanted to run all day, and the Panthers were really no threat running or passing against the defense, although they did connect on a few passes. So we're here to see how the secondary can perform.
And you remember in the Pierce County game, Pierce County didn't score until overtime, and they had to use the pass to do it.
David Walker, number 8, is in at corner now. Sal Corona got hurt last week. Jaguars looking to throw. Big pressure, but the tight end's open. That looks like number 87, Robert Shampoo, with the reception. And Shampoo cleans up for about 8 yards.
I got to see this. Is that really what that says? Oh, my gosh.
Would I lie to you, Drew?
It could be Shampoo, but...
6'6", 235.
Yeah, that's the reason why I'm not going to argue. I don't want him to... I'll let you handle that one.
That'll be far away in King County by nightfall. 2nd and 1. Thunderbolts offsides but back. Nope, flag up. Quarterback on the option drops the ball, and it looks like 57. Dressler might have got it.
The problem with that, though, is the official on this side working on the line of scrimmage threw his flag, which indicates to me, because the play went on, that it was going to be offsides, that the one Thunderbolt that jumped didn't get back in time, unless they call something else.
It was refused, whatever it was, and it was against the Jaguars, and the Thunderbolts get possession. Number 11, Leo Dickerson, was the option quarterback on that play, and it looked like he was ill-advised to try and pitch it at that point.
I don't know what that was all, but there was 5 Thunderbolts around him, and he just coughed up the ball. There was no...
The call was illegal motion. I guess the lineman who was offsides might have drew some motion in the backfield, and then they threw the flag. Welcome back, Ace.
We're ready to resume play here, and the best guess we've got on that penalty was maybe the Jaguar wide receiver lined up offsides, which in this league would be a live ball penalty, and that's why the Thunderbolts were able to keep the ball after the fumble recovery.
Alonzo Harden in motion, fake throwback, and it's going to be a handoff up the middle to, looks like, Casey Gallagher, number 46, the fullback. And it looks like the Thunderbolts can do no wrong on offense right now against this Jag defense.
This just looks like a replay of last week, Tim. I mean, so far we've just seen the Thunderbolts dominate both lines of scrimmage, offensively and defensively. And in that case, it's probably going to end up a lot like it did last week.
So it's going to be 2nd down and 5 now. Handoff to Harden. Second man through. Got a big hole. And he's going to rip off about 8 yards and get a first down for the Thunderbolts.
And again, this sounds like ad nauseum broken record, but huge hole for Harden to run through.
Huge hole. Well, the King County Jaguars are 1-1, and so they have won a game, and they have scored a reasonable amount of points against their opponents. So I don't think they're really in the same class with the Oregon Panthers at this point. We hope to get a little more fight out of them. I found out at the end of the game last week that the 2 points that the Thunderbolts allowed on defense were the only 2 points that the Oregon Panthers have scored in their past 11 games. So it was awful nice of the Thunderbolts to at least get that goose egg up. Pass intended for Harris in the flat, and he was open, but he didn't catch it.
He tried to run before he got the ball, because if he would have got the ball, he just would have turned the corner and burned turf into the end zone. So that was unfortunate.
Well, I couldn't tell. It looked like the ball was there, but I couldn't tell if he could catch it or not.
Sometimes, though, when you see it coming and you know you're going to be open, you try to get it too quick, and you end up turning too quick, and then your original objective was to get the ball, and you forget it. And I think that's what happened there. He just saw that he was going to get in the end zone.
All right, well, Anthony Jordan now checks in, and Harris comes out. It's going to be 2nd and goal from the 9, from the near hash mark. Sparks looking for Jordan in the end zone, and Jordan sees the ball and can't get his feet underneath him there.
And again, there's that turf again. I'm not sure what. I was down there before the game on that turf. It's really rubbery. I mean, it definitely has some give and some pushback when you run on that thing. But so far, we've seen quite a few people slip and fall whenever they try to make a cut or any change of direction type of move.
Well, I guess that's good for safety purposes. I'm sure it's comfortable to fall down on. Saves on broken bones, especially for high school. I understand this is a junior high or high school facility here.
I believe 2 or 3 Vancouver high schools play on this field.
Harden looking for the end zone. All he needs is 9 yards, spins. I think he got down to the 1.
And I guess I don't have to say this too much here, but the defensive coordinator, when he looks at the stats at the end of the game, when he finds that the safeties and the cornerbacks are making more tackles than the linebackers and the defensive linemen, that's not a good showing by your defense. Your corners shouldn't have to save your defense from a touchdown, which is what happened on that play. Harden had much room. He could have driven a Mack truck through that hole, and it forced somebody in the defensive backfield to make the stop and save the touchdown. Of course, that might be anticlimactic.
Well, Justin Wachnick, David O'Neill, never mind. They got the job done. The front line of the Oregon Thunderbolts.
That was just a 5-yard pushback right there.
Rod Wilson is the center, and Matt Matthews, number 61, Bob Brown, number 63, getting it done up front. And Woods, Jeff Woods, on to attempt the extra point. Good snap, whistle blows, and it's not going to count. Ryan Ivanoff, the backup quarterback, was the holder. But we have illegal motion. But to make this any kind of test for Jeff Woods, they're going to have to back it up to about the 35. Otherwise, it's going to just go over the fence like the last one.
You know, I wouldn't mind sometime during this game if a drive stalls around the 35-yard line of the Jaguars. Instead of going for it on 4th down, try and see if Wood can make a 52-yard field goal. Because, you know, seriously, they may need him to make one of those later on in the season, so it'd be nice to at least practice it in a game type of situation.
High snap. Kick is good. Great job there by number 12 Ivanoff. Stood up, caught the ball, and kneeled down and got it down on the ground for Woods in time. And the Thunderbolts convert and now lead 14-0 with 10 minutes and 58 seconds. They could put some colored light. Woods to kick off, and we'll see where this one ends up. Number 6, Mike Dwyer, again back. And it's going to be a wobbly kick. Should stay in bounds. Dwyer's going to hope it rolls out, and it does.
And by NWFL rules, I believe the Jaguars will take the NWFL twist to that rule, which is out of your 35-yard line, 1st and 10.
Or they can force a re-kick.
Well, I don't think they really have a choice. And besides, in that situation, but make it the 40-yard line, actually. They're going to give it to him from the 40. The old rule used to be the 35, but call it the 40.
Number 11, Leo Dickerson, who fumbled on that last drive, is the quarterback, I think. Unless they pulled him out. Oh, he is the quarterback. Double tight ends. No. Not double tight ends. I formation. Pitch. Wide. Number 34. Oh, and he breaks a tackle, but a big hit from the Thunderbolts. Number 58. No, 42.
Steve Rosario.
Ouch.
Yeah, the first Thunderbolt stood him up, and then Rosario came in and laid a crunching hit on the running back. And all they got out of that was 2 yards when it looked promising when he came around the side. But
that was Michael Bible getting shut down on that play. Second down and 8.
It looks like we're in for some more quips and puns today, huh?
Yeah, one page at a time. One page at a time. And the defensive front shifts. And now there's 5 down linemen up front. Dickerson holds onto the ball. Nice little screen outside. That was number 3, Derek Smith.
And that's a screen is a play that you're going to call when you have a defensive line that's all over your quarterback in throwing situations. You let them come in, you dump it off, and then it gets the defense to think, oh, maybe we shouldn't be up there so quickly, or get a spy that's going to break up that screen play. But usually it works the first time as long as the ball is thrown and caught.
Well, he was wide open on that play. No one seemed to be covering him. I don't even know where he lined up, but he came in late. First down and 10, Thunderbolts 45. Looking deep, there was some contact there from number 5, Jake Hendricks, and number 5, Akeen McAllister was the intended receiver.
And on that play, that was what you call a hurry. He had to throw that ball in a hurry because somebody was already coming in on him. That was a quick drop, and there was already a guy in his face, and he had to rush his throw, and he ended up overthrowing his receiver.
Well, his receiver ran into the defensive back, or he might have been in the vicinity of where that ball came down. I think the Thunderbolts fortunate there that there wasn't some sort of contact foul. 2nd and 10. Rosario now moves outside. More pressure from the defensive line. And number 3, Derek Smith, intended receiver, can't hang on.
And another overthrown ball, so it looks like the quarterback's a bit nervous today. In fact, if memory serves, I think the only pass he's completed was the screen pass that got them to where they are now, the Thunderbolt 45.
Calvin Armstead, number 35, and number 21, Mike London, are the 2 safeties. On 3rd and 10. Big pressure up the middle. Number 91, Greg Gadbois, just came right up the gut, and the quarterback didn't have a chance.
And the running back on his side, he just ran over him to get to the quarterback to force the early throw, but I believe there's going to be pass interference on the Thunderbolts, which will give the Jags a first down.
Boy, I didn't see pass interference. That ball was way high, but they called it. Ball was way over the head of everybody.
But despite that, you still have to credit the Thunderbolt defensive line. I mean, they just got in on him, and Gadbois ran over that running back and got to the quarterback, forced him to throw it early, and they were lucky they were bailed out with the penalty.
Well, we have our best chain crew so far we've seen yet this year. 3 guys on the beginning of the game are all ready to go on the sideline, the far sideline, with the chains, and so far they haven't walked off.
And how about this? It's our first home game, and it's the first game that we have a strong and steady chain crew.
1st and 10. Dickerson looking for number 3, Derek Smith, and he underthrew him that time.
I mean, last 2 weeks we've seen where the game's ready to start, and as an afterthought, oh, hey, we need a chain crew. And we saw the debacle that happened at Pierce County. Wait a minute, I think we have a timeout by King County.
Down 10 now for the Jaguars, deep in Thunderbolts territory. They're behind 14-0, and they need to get some points on the board before the end of this quarter. Dickerson going back to throw. And open was number 5, Akeem McAllister. He actually covered pretty well, but if that ball had been thrown right, he could have probably caught one.
Now, unlike the last few throws that have been long and deep, I think what ended up happening there was the sun. Once the receiver and the defensive back looked back, all they saw was this big, bright yellow thing that we call the sun, the thing that doesn't make an appearance regularly until after Rose Festival here in the Portland area. And that's what happened there. I mean, it looked like neither guy knew where the heck the ball was.
Brings up 3rd down and 10. Good pass protection on that last play. Dickerson had lots of time to throw that ball. Armstead keeps jumping off sides, and now the tight end jumps off sides. Caught for a touchdown by number 3, Derek Smith, but there is a flag down, and the tight end was halfway down the field by the time the ball was snapped.
Yeah, I have a feeling that one's going to come back. I think they're going to say that somebody on the line moved the tight end. I think you're right about that, but we'll see.
Robert Shampoo.
He wanted to get to the hairdresser.
Well, we're incorrect. They called offside, so the touchdown stands.
Now wait a minute. How can there be an offsides when the tight end is 5 yards deep down the field?
The guy came over on the other side first and got caught in the neutral zone when the ball was snapped. The tight end left on the second time that the guy came. The guy got caught in the neutral zone. That's the only reason that play went, because he got caught in the neutral zone when the ball was snapped. He could have gone back But when the ball was snapped, he was still in the neutral zone. That's offsides. He got caught in the neutral zone trying to get back.
Well, yeah, but the tight end was offsides. I don't know.
Now you can't be offside. Two people can't be offside at the same time. This guy got caught on the neutral zone.
Touchdown Jaguars. High snap. Block kick.
And just let that one go because, as we mentioned before, in the NWFL, when you block an extra point kick, the ball is dead. It cannot be returned. It can't be returned for a safety by the defense, and it can't be taken into the end zone for 1 point by the offense.
Number 43, Richard Black, listed as a Jaguars kicker. And apparently,
it would have been a smart play if the center just snapped the ball when he got caught in the neutral.
yeah, I still didn't understand what happened with the tight end on that one, Drew. The tight end appeared to be offsides. Anthony Harris, Andre Harris with the
What happened was everybody was looking on that side so much after he jumped back twice.
return to the number, returned out to the 37. And we suppose that maybe that the referee didn't see the tight end or that the tight end moved on the snap of the ball and no one else did.
I think that's what happened. It looked to me like the center and the tight end went at the same time. And as long as you don't beat the center, the thing is that everything starts with the center. So if you go with him at the same time, nothing illegal about that. But if you go before him, then it becomes a false start.
The center sees the safety creeping across the line. He snaps the ball to make the defense offside.
Exactly.
And the tight end's watching the ball, and he takes off right there.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So it's a Jaguars touchdown, and the Thunderbolts only lead by 7 now. They have the ball back, 36-yard line. Sparks throws to Nightingale, and this time he keeps his feet, gets outside a little bit, but he gets tripped up by number 22, Kevin Lund, and it's an 8-yard pickup for the Thunderbolts.
That was a good tackle by Lund because if he doesn't get him from behind and trip him up, Andre goes, or was that Rod on that one? Well, the Thunderbolt receiver, the Thunderbolt receiver runs for a long ways.
And Scott reminded me that the Jaguars did get their kick block, so it's actually 14-6. So now Thunderbolts 2nd down and 2 from their own 45-yard line.
Nice catch, Scott.
Fake pitch to Harden, run up middle by Casey. Big tackle with a flag. Was that a face mask?
Well, I think that actually may be holding.
Rakib Brooks, number 31, took Gallagher so high he actually lifted him up off the ground and body slammed him.
But that's a holding against the Thunderbolts, so unfortunately that first down is going to be negated and it's going to be 2nd and long.
Thunderbolts showing some interesting plays this year. A little more participation in practice, and with these guys, if they can come down and practice, they can really add another dimension to their offense and show some offensive plays that they haven't shown in past years when people didn't come down and practice. And these guys all don't get paid and they have jobs, and so they don't all have time to come down and practice. But this new Thunderbolt brood obviously putting in some practice hours and running some kind of tricky offensive plays that we haven't seen much of in this whole league. The Jaguars as well. That screen pass, you don't see a lot of screen passes in this league. Sparks. And the receiver had a guy all over him. That was Andre Harris, and he still grabbed that.
Just a yard short of the first down. So that's a nice response to losing a first down and being penalized 10 yards. Now you get almost all of it back, and it's 3rd and short. And I think this is where the Thunderbolts have to use their advantage up front. They've got to play smash mouth football, which is what Bob Cole said he wanted to do. Play smash mouth football, ram it down their throats until they can show you they can stop it.
And now big Jason Lang at 400 is in. The rotation on the offensive line, and so is Jason Woody, number 75. Handoff Gallagher. Drops a ball, picks it up. And the tackler was holding on to Gallagher and didn't try to get the football there. That was number 42, Brett Weiberg. First down by Gallagher. Wasn't pretty, but he got the first down.
He just didn't give up. He just kept on moving, kept on trying to move forward, and then eventually fell forward across the line for the first down.
Harden and Gallagher, the two tailbacks. And number 89, Morgan Will, goes in motion, shifting to the left. And now Casey Gallagher goes in motion, also to the left. Pitch, Harden. So I'm blocking out front. Harden in trouble. Looked like the ball might have come out. No, Harden hangs on.
And it looks like the Jaguars' defense has a little speed. They covered that play pretty well. And if that continues to happen, then I think Bob Cole's going to start calling those smash plays up the middle in between the tackles and use what advantage you do have. But they did a good job of pursuing that play. Harden pretty much had nowhere to run. He did manage to get 2 yards on the play, which I found really surprising. They were all over that play.
Well, not to name numbers, but the fullback didn't make it out to his man. He was unable to block his man, and his man grabbed Harden as he went by. So need a little more speed there. Sparks looking to throw. Got Harden out on the swing. Harden makes the catch. And he's tackled maybe illegally down there with that 5-yard gain.
It looked like he grabbed him by the shoulder pad, but we do have a late flag coming in.
And Harden limping a little bit. Appears to be coming out, and his substitute would be Glenn Bill, number 25. 5'7", 180 out of North Salem High School.
And apparently they did get a part of his face mask because that was the signal from the white hat, the referee, but it was the minor incidental one that was only 5 yards, but they only needed 4 yards to get a first down. Thus, it's a first down for the Thunderbolts.
And according to my view, we still have 5 minutes left in the first quarter.
It's the way it looks to me, too.
This turning out to be another one of the games like the Pierce County where the first quarter seems pretty long, along with that Japan game we covered. Up the middle, Bell. Big blocking up front. And Bell squirts forward for about 6 or 7 yards.
And I think Bob Cole and I are on the same page. He saw the good pursuit on that last outside running play, so he decided let's go up the middle with Glenn Bell, and they got big yards, 6 of them on first down.
Meanwhile, Alonzo Harden is getting his ankle retaped, it looks like, on the sideline. 2nd and 4. Sparks looking to throw. Got lots of time. Got Nightingale. Nightingale makes a catch. Gets tackled, but he has a first down. Number 22, Kevin Lund again on the stop.
And Rod did a good job on that play in that he ran 3 or 4 yards past the first down marker so that if he wanted to try something, which he did, to get more yards, at least by retreating, he doesn't lose the first down. And that's what you teach your receivers to do. Go past the yard marker, catch the ball, and then don't give up the first down you just got by catching the ball. And, of course, if that gamble works, you're in the end zone and you get even a bigger gain.
Yeah, Nightingale almost did break that free. So Harris and Nightingale, the 2 wide receivers. Will lines up in the slot, then shifts across, and now it's going to be Bell on the sweep, and Gallagher's got a block this time. Leading the play, and Bell gets ahead for 6 or 7. Big number 79, Jason Lang down the field, putting the hat on 10 yards down the field. That was a big hat to lay on somebody.
He's affectionately known to his teammates as House. House. So if you talk about House,
I would say the Jags might think he was more of an apartment building, but yes.
Well, if he runs somebody over, you say, did somebody get the number of that truck that just ran over me?
Or the address of that house.
Address of the house. So now they're on the far hash mark, and let me guess, they're going to try and run it this way. No, Sparks back to throw, deep drop, looking deep. And he's got Morgan Will across the middle for the first down. And I like to see him throwing to the tight end.
I like that too. The thing is that Bob Cole hates screens. He doesn't mind short dump-off passes, but he hates screens. But he likes to get all the receivers, including the tight end, involved in the passing game. And we're seeing that here. He was basically uncovered, but it looked like the Jags were in a bit of a zone there. So all you got to do with a zone is you go to an open area and you sit and wait for the ball from the quarterback.
And Sparks back there had lots of time to look. It's good to see him use the tight end because that keeps the whole center of the defense honest in pass coverage. Sparks throws back. Actually, there's a handoff inside with that fake Brett Favre play.
Well executed
pitch out,
play.
and it was Gallagher up the middle all along.
That was a very well executed play. And if it wasn't for a couple of Jaguars in the middle of the field who saw what had actually happened, that would have went in for a touchdown. As it was, they gave up a lot of yards, 9 yards on first down.
And that was Casey Gallagher, the fullback. So that's a lot of blocking up front. Ball's on the 5-yard line, 2nd and 1. So the Thunderbolts can now get a first down inside the 5.
I wouldn't be surprised if they can punch this puppy in the end zone.
Sparks looking to throw quick. Got Harris, touchdown. Now is that 2? That's 2 for Andre Harris.
Oh my gosh. Yes, it is 2 touchdown catches now for Andre Harris. That was just a short drop. Short. All he had to do was throw it right to him. He was open enough, and he kneeled down in the end zone. There he was. Touchdown.
So now Jeff Wood in, along with number 12, Ryan Ivanoff, the holder, and backup quarterback as a threat, to attempt the extra point. And that might be the house snapping this time. It is the house snapping. Snaps have been pretty good this game. And Jeff Woods doesn't clear the fence, but he does clear the uprights. Huh?
21-6.
It's going on and on about the line, that's right. I was doing my going on and on thing. So Sparks involved in all 3 touchdowns. 2 passes and a run. I want him on my fantasy football team. Kickoff, Woods dropped. Mike Dwyer picked it up, and then he got hit hard by Robert Kellis, number 58.
That was Brian Vandenacker who actually kicked that ball off, and it was a little bit short. And that's the thing about Brian, every other kick is really, really good, but the ones in between, but even with that kick, they still only got to the 28-yard line.
Thanks a lot, Scott.
Sorry, I didn't mean to hit you.
No brains, no damage. 28-yard line, 1st and 10. Dickerson almost picked off. Number 42, Steve Rosario, dropped it.
And it's a good thing that the quarterback threw behind him. If we would have thrown it right to him, I think he could have got that one. But he threw behind him, and Rosario tried to turn around and get it, and just couldn't.
Rosario would have been gone, too. There was no one there. And now the Jaguars are lining up with no huddle. And the defense scrambling to line up as well. Big blitz inside with Dressler. And no one even blocked him. So that backfired on the Jaguars.
Big 7-yard loss on the sack. They were in a 4 wide receiver formation with trips to the bottom side of your screen, or bottom, at the bottom of your screen. And in order to throw passes, you have to be able to protect. And they didn't that time. I mean, he just came in pretty much unmolested.
Well, and the defense was lining up on that no huddle, and Dressler just stole right through the line between the center and the guard. Big pass rush from the outside. Pressured, but he gets away. Dickerson almost throws it again to Rosario. And it was Gadbois putting all the pressure on Dickerson, who used that Eric Dickerson-like speed to get away, or he would have been sacked for another 10 yards.
He might have been better off just to take that up and run with it rather than try to throw it. He looked like he had some room to run, but after doing all that running, maybe he just got a little tired.
Well, you don't want to throw it to number 42 Blue. I know that.
That's very true, but maybe he's just like, hey, this is a hot potato. I don't want it anymore. Here, you take it.
Well, the third time's a charm. I think Rosario, get another one anywhere near him, he's going to catch it.
And then we'll have an interception for him.
So Andre Harris, number 9, back deep along with Bell. And it's going to be a shank, and it's going to roll out of bounds at the line of scrimmage. Well, no, I think he might have netted 5 yards on that kick. Bad things for the Jags.
I think that one actually got 7 yards. Because it was...
There is 55.9 seconds left in the first quarter, and the Thunderbolts with the ball on the 28-yard line of the Jaguars after the miserable punt. Sparks to throw, have a chance to score another touchdown in this quarter. And Andre Harris was open, but the ball wasn't there.
Yeah, a 7-yard punt deep in your own territory is not a good thing for your defense to try and overcome. Thunderbolts only 28 yards away from another score, and we're not even done with the first quarter yet.
Incomplete pass stops the clock.
Hey, go back to Ellison there behind you and see where I'm from. Can you talk to that? Ellison, you have trouble with it? Okay, good. Hey, shoot away, okay?
Second down and 10. Will lines up on the right. Harden back in, protecting for Sparks. Sparks got Nightingale. Nightingale's man falls down. Nightingale falls down after he gets the first down. Nightingale having a big game so far.
And it looks like King County is playing a lot of zone defense because they're worried that the Thunderbolt receivers will get open too much, and a good quarterback will pick apart a zone.
Okay, we still have 42 seconds left after Thunderbolts called timeout. We're in the first quarter. Thunderbolts looking to score. 1st and 10 on the 21-yard line. Sparks getting near the line of scrimmage overthrows Andre Harris on a rollout, kind of a broken play.
That's a good defensive play, good pressure by number 53 of the Jags on that play.
Chris Thiessen.
Could be Thiessen. But I think he forced Sparks to throw the ball a little earlier than he wanted to, and he ended up overthrowing Harris. It wouldn't have got him a first down, but it would have got him a few yards.
Well, again, the clock stops, and so this is almost like the end of the game, the 2-minute drill. We have the first quarter drill.
Incomplete passes will do that.
Good to see Alonzo Harden back in. I guess his ankle's better now after it got retaped. He got lots of tape on those ankles now. Will, in motion, lines up to the right now. To the wide side of the field. Sparks looking to throw. Got some pressure. Picked up by Harden. And Jordan, number 7, was open. And the pass was incomplete. We do have a flag down.
That could be that infamous illegal contact penalty. The thing that can happen beforehand. Well, no, we'll just call it defensive holding. Now, in past years, what that's been is it's just like the pro interpretation. It's 5 yards and automatic first down. Let's see what they're going to do here. See if they change that rule.
Ace, our spotter, accused number 8, Steve Fisher. I'll have to make sure number 8's in the game, though. Oh, the flag was on the 8. Oh, because that's good, because Fisher is actually a quarterback, so he probably didn't do it. Not a cornerback. Number 23, Amacure Harris, was the defender on that play. And the Thunderbolts awarded 5 yards and a down over. It's 2nd down and 2. Pass dropped and covered by Harris in case they ruled that was a lateral.
Actually, I think what that was is they just called it half the distance because it's inside the 20, and they called it a 10-yard penalty, and they marched it from the 16 to the 8. That's why it was 2nd down and 2 on the play. They must have changed that rule because in 13 years past, they'd always used the pro interpretation on that, which is 5 yards and an automatic first down. Or if you're inside the 10-yard line, half the distance and an automatic first down. So apparently
we
they
have
changed
Clark
that
County
rule.
rules today. We're in Clark County.
I guess so.
29 and 3/10 seconds.
So we're still here at the end, milking the end of the first quarter with 29 seconds. Thunderbolts have a 3rd and 2 after the incomplete pass. Gallagher and Harden back, blocking for Sparks. Harden releases outside, and he's going to have a touchdown.
24 and 6/10 seconds.
Touchdown with still time on the first quarter clock. Pass to Harden, and that's 4 touchdowns for Wade Sparks in the first quarter. 3 touchdown passes and a run. And Sparks, getting helped off the field by 2 of his teammates, took a big hit after the throw.
And what happened on that play is Harden, instead of staying back and blocking, allowed the free safety to come in on the blitz, and he was wide open when Sparks threw the ball, but Sparks paid the price afterwards.
So now Jeff Wood back in to try and make it an even 28-6. Snap 1 hops, and the Jaguars break through the line, but it's too late. Woods connects and clears the fence, and it's 28-6.
24 and 6/10 seconds.
And we're ready to kick off here. It's Brian Vandenacker again. Tim's on a little bit of a bathroom break here. And here's the return. A little bit of room to run. And down to the 29-yard line goes number 6, Mike Dwyer. So the Jaguars will have the ball again, this time in pretty good field position, their own 29-yard line, but they find themselves down 28-6 late here in the first quarter. And I'm told that Sparks already has 249 passing yards with the 3 touchdown passes. 1st and 10 Jaguars. And it's a little bit of an option keeper to Dickerson, and he doesn't get anywhere on that play. In fact, it looks like he even lost a few yards. And he appears to be down on the field, injured as well. Slow to get up. But you do also have a flag down.
4 seconds left in the quarter, and the Jaguars will not get this play off, I don't think.
And they won't. Just very quickly before we change ends here, what happened on that last play was there was a late hit called on the Thunderbolts, so the down counts, but the Jaguars got 15 yards, and that's why it was 2nd down and 2 instead of 2nd down and a whole bunch, about 17, which is what it would have been without the late hit.
We have a big set. All right, then. High snap. Dickerson throwing off his back foot. Almost picked off. There was some contact, but I don't see a flag. Good coverage down there by Jake Hendricks.
And I erred when I said what Sparks was. He's actually 10 of 15 for 112 yards, and the Thunderbolts have 159 yards total offense.
And 3 touchdown passes and a touchdown run.
Sparks has been in on every touchdown, either directly or indirectly.
Pass intended for number 5, Akeem McAllister. And that looked like a dangerous play. The Jaguars might have gotten something there. But Hendricks fighting McAllister for the football, and Hendricks almost got it. And he didn't hang on either. So the Jaguars looking at 3rd down and 2 at their own 33-yard line. Fumbled snap. Maybe Dickerson got it back, but it's going to be 4th down. And we'll see if they want to try that punt again, or maybe they're going to just go for it.
When you're down by 22 points, I don't know. It depends on what the coach is like. If he's a riverboat gambler, he may go for it. But if he's a little more ultra-conservative, just kick it the heck out of there and hope our defense can hold him.
Well, I know, but after the 7-yard punt last time, they might be well observed to Actually, it'd probably be best off to put the punt team out there and let them practice a little bit. And it's the punter, who might be number 43 again. It's hard to see with him turned that way. Oh, snap's terrible, way over his head. This is going to be big-time loss for the Jags. And number 56 is Deshaun Miller, a linebacker, 6'4", 250, was attempting to punt, but he had no chance as the ball went way over his 6'4" head.
And what should happen on that play, what should happen on that is that he illegally kicked the ball while it was in the end zone, out of the end zone. So what that should be is a safety, and the Jags should have to kick off from their own 20-yard line unless they come up with some other interpretation that I don't know about. But to me, that is a safety. When you kick it out of the end zone.
I thought he kicked it down about the 5 into the end zone.
Well, it looked to me like it was either close or it was in the end zone, but he still kicked it out of the end zone. And when you kick it out of your own end zone, especially illegally like that, that is a safety. That should be a safety.
Well, there's a penalty flag down.
There's definitely a flag down, but my understanding is that should be a safety. But then again, they may be telling the Thunderbolts something else here.
Well, they're bringing the ball back down the field. Maybe there's a penalty on the Thunderbolts.
And the Jaguars will kick off because of the safety. By rule, when you illegally kick the ball through your own end zone, that's the one you're defending. That is a penalty, and it is a safety. So that's why the Thunderbolts rack up 2 more points. And now we're going to get a further penalty because the Jaguars kicked the ball on the kickoff out of bounds.
Well, now Andre Harris kind of let that ball roll. That wasn't very smart. He should have. I mean, he maybe saw it was going out of bounds, but if that's a live football, some other Jaguars could have grabbed that ball and he would have just been standing there.
That's a very good point. He just has to make sure that there's nobody coming wearing a white and light blue uniform because you're right, that's a live ball. But he knew it was going to go out of bounds before somebody came down there, and they're going to get the ball at the 45-yard line of the Jaguars because of that. Apparently, the penalty now for kicking the ball out of bounds is you advance the ball 25 yards from where the ball was kicked, and that's where you end up with the ball if you're the receiving team. So they get great field position out of that.
The 45 of the Jaguars.
The 45 of the Jaguars, correct. 25, after a safety, you kick off from your own 20-yard line.
Well, what about the one that went out on us? They got it at the 40.
That was a kickoff. This was a free kick.
13 minutes.
It was still the same thing. Huh?
Oh, God.
What?
So the Thunderbolts take over now at the 45 of the Jags.
Out of bounds. You get it 25 yards from wherever you kicked off. So you kicked off.
And number 12, Ryan Ivanoff. So far we've seen him on the extra points holding. Is in at quarterback. Hands off inside to number 18. Lionel Chapman, who's also in there, along with number 25, Glenn Bell. So they have a double scat back look.
And we should see Ivanoff and Chapman and well, if Darren Martin were suited up, apparently he must be hurt because he's just wearing his uniform. He's not suited up, but we should see just about everybody who doesn't normally start in for the Thunderbolts from here on out.
After the first quarter?
Well, if you're that far ahead, why not?
Well, the Thunderbolts looking for more. They lead 28-6.
30-6, actually.
Oh, 30-6 at the safety. Ivanoff connects. Got number 81, and he makes a great move, and he's going to be gone.
Forget it. They're not going to catch up to him.
Calvin Simpkins from Greenwood SC, South Carolina, I guess. Tight end, wide receiver, 6'1", 185, and great speed. Nice play by Simpkins. The whole secondary was waiting for him down there, and he just took off to the left and said, see,
12 minutes and 56.
So that's 36-6 now. Ouch.
You can't keep track, or do I have to direct you?
Jaguar pain. I was just trying to be nice. So Ivanoff now doing his holding duties, high snap. Ivanoff's going to try and fire away in the corner. Complete.
Oh, my gosh, and that's 2 more points.
And that wasn't really trying to run up the score. I think that was kind of a fire desperation missed the snap kick emergency pass.
That was just a desperation on a broken play. High snap.
And a couple kudos for the kicker, giving a block to him. Jeff Woods made a block so that he could get the ball away.
I'll tell you something.
And now, kicking off for the Thunderbolts. Oh, and it's like comedy of errors, Thunderbolt football down at the 10. Fumbled, and it was mishandled by Akeem McAllister. Mike Dwyer, they were down there. They couldn't figure out who wanted the football, and then the Thunderbolts, they came up with it.
And it was Jamin Dyson that came up with the fumble, if you will.
Sorry, guys, I missed that play. Fool.
Yeah.
Fooled? You are a fool.
No, I missed the play. I was fooled by the play.
You are a fool.
And it was Vandenacker who kicked that off, and it must have been such a knuckleball that he couldn't come up with it, and he accidentally kicked it forward. And
Vandenacker kicked the tar out of that ball. It looked like a Jeff Woods. Maybe they switched jerseys.
Maybe.
Between the extra point there. He wailed on that ball, and it just got mishandled, along with our camera. And Ivanov looking for more. And he's going to have Andre Harris. But he can't get him the ball. It hits off the turf at about the 2, and Harris can't catch it.
And I think we're going to see a lot of experimentation here on that play. Calvin Simpkins, the guy who just scored that last touchdown, he was lined up at tight end. And they had a backfield of, they'll come out again, but definitely
he's
some
listed as a tight end on the roster, although he's only 6'1", 185.
Yeah, you have Glenn Bell at fullback and Lionel Chapman at tailback. You still have Air Harris in there. I don't know how long we're going to see that, though. That'll probably change rather quickly. If they can make another score or two, they'll probably take him out.
Well, Glenn Bell's even smaller than Lionel. Flag down, and the Thunderbolts mishandle the ball.
I think it's going to be a penalty on the Thunderbolts, and they're going to lose the ball because the Jaguars came up with the fumble.
So mercy finally shines on the Jags, although they're down on their own 12-yard line, with a chance to at least control the ball for a few minutes. What's the clock, Ace? 12:48?
12:40. 12:36.
12 minutes and 40 seconds left in the half. Thunderbolts lead 38-6. Jaguar ball. Handoff inside. Big hole. Looks like number 21, Jay Walker. And so the Thunderbolts are the... yeah, I suppose he would be a jaywalker.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what the Thunderbolt defense thinks about jaywalkers? And so Jay Walker jaywalks for 6 yards.
Stumbles.
That was a good offensive play by the Jags. It's good to see them do something here.
And a lot of the Thunderbolts defense at least half of them are the backup defenders. We saw last week how well the Panthers did against the backup defense.
Well, the Thunderbolts, and Anthony Davis is now in the game, number 39. We were missing him earlier. I see a lot of starters out there, Drew. Dressler's there, and Rosario's there. Bergey's out there. They really don't have a lot of good up front seven backup players. I mean, good or not good, regardless. They're not real deep at those positions, so those guys are going to play.
And you're right. It could be that because of that, they may have to play longer than they would really want to. But at least they're deep on the offensive end, and they can rest some people. That way nobody gets hurt.
7 offensive linemen or more that can go 300 pounds. Was that a reverse out to number 6? Mike Dwyer.
Looks like they're going to get a first down out of that one.
Brett who?
Brett Wells. Is he going to play?
Who's that?
thought you guys were saying that he is coming back.
Well, they could use some more linebackers. By the way, if you're watching the show and you want to be a linebacker or defensive lineman for the Thunderbolts, come down to practice 6 o'clock Tuesdays and Thursdays at Park Rose High School. Well, this show won't be on this week, so we don't have to worry about it. But this week, the 4th of July, we will have no practice. Offsides on the defense. Called, but the play still goes, and that was number 55, Lonnie Bowden. Probably the only true defensive lineman on the Thunderbolts.
And I think Coach Cal McInnes and defensive backs coach David Brannon still want the defense to be aggressive and not let the Jaguars run up and down the field, even with this big lead. He wants them to stay in tune because there's a couple of games coming up here that are going to be good. For instance, 2 weeks from tonight, second home game of the season, they're playing the Bellingham Eagles, who at this point in time are one of the 4 undefeated teams in this league. And it'll be very important that the Thunderbolts are all sharp for that game. That'll be a big game.
The Eagles are just a couple minutes from the Canadian border up there, eh? And like they recruit out of Canadian high schools, Canadian colleges, and have a special angle on those players that want to play American football. Eh? And so they know all of what American football is about.
And the other thing about the Bellingham Eagles, they're playing a very important game with the Puget Sound Jets in their own place. Both teams 3-0. Puget Sound's 3-0, 107 points scored, only 12 scored upon. And so that's going to be a huge game for first place in the Northwest Football League up north.
Well, if I recall, Bellingham beat the Bengals earlier this year, which is another quality team in the Northwest Football League. Dickerson pitches outside to number 13. Nobody's there. Davis pushed him out, and number 8, David Walker, finished the job. But that looked like number 13, Jeff Hill, a defensive back, listed on the Jaguars with a big run.
And finally, the option play works.
He's going to turn it around. Berge can't get there. Hendricks can't. Well, Hendricks forced him out finally. Boy, number 44, DeVray Simmons, had that play dead to rights for a 5-yard loss, but Dickerson got away.
And as we alluded to many, many times last week, Tim, when you have a big lead, you can take a lot of chances. You can do a lot of things because there's a lot of room for error, a lot of margin for error. And even if the Jaguars can score on this possession, so what? They're still up by 25 points. They have to be more consistent with this. When they get the ball, they need to keep scoring, and then they have to stop the Thunderbolts' offense.
Right, which so far they've only done with turnovers. And that's a completion inside of Hendricks. Nice catch by number 6, Dwyer. And some more positive yards for the Jags on this drive. At least we're watching a football game at this point if we ignore the scoreboard.
Coach. Number 12.
King County 1st and 10 at the Thunderbolts 25. Number 11, Leo Dickerson, the quarterback. Number 34, Michael Bible, in motion as the tailback. Dickerson looking to run up the middle. He's got lots of room. Hendricks finally grabs him by the leg, but not until he picks up about 17 yards. And where was the defense on that play?
That was a nicely well-executed quarterback draw. Again, another one of those plays where if the opposing team is getting a good rush on you, another play to kind of change up on you and catch you on that push forward by your pass rush. So we've seen that twice now, but again, it could be too little too late already, and we're only in the second quarter.
Sweep outside. Dickerson fakes the throw. Oh, he did throw it. And there's a flag down out there, too. incomplete.
And if I'm the Thunderbolts, I don't know if I take this penalty. I might take the down over. It just depends on what the penalty is, first of all, whether it is on King County or not.
Ball's at the 9-yard line. That was a 1st and goal at the 9.
And now it's going to be 1st and goal at the 4.5 because they called offsides on the Thunderbolts.
Number 58, Robert Kellis checks in. And DeVray Simmons, 44, checks out. Michael Bible, the tailback. Pitch to Bible. He snares the ball out of the air, and he's going to try and squirt in the end zone. But first he finds about 5 blue shirts, and he ain't going to make it.
And that was a good first move that he made to get rid of the first guy because that looked like it was ticketed for a 2 or 3 yard loss. And he faked the first guy out, but then got snowed under at the 3. So second
I was
goal.
surprised he got that pitch.
Yeah, that pitch was pretty high. That was the first part of the good play, was that he was able to get the ball out of the air. Then he comes down with it, and he immediately has to make a move to get rid of somebody, and then he managed to get a couple of yards out of it.
So 2nd and goal from the 3. Dickerson throwing the high lob pass to the corner, complete. Number 5, Akeem McAllister, covered by Hendricks. And so that's 2 TDs now for the Jags. I guess the Jags going to go for 1. They were thinking about going for 2 here. And another bad snap. And the kicker, number 43, Richard Black, who's had a rather black game so far, falls on it. First go for 1, and bad snap and don't get it. They might have wanted to go for 2. Would have brought them in a little bit closer if they'd have converted on that. I'm sure the kickers wishing they would have. And that looked like number 8, David Walker, unless that was Harris. It's Harris with his jersey scrunched up, number 9. And he returns it out to about the 39-yard line. Thunderbolts have about 6, almost 7 minutes left in the half here, and lead 38-12. And now we might see some of that huge offensive line and some of that ground game, or we might see more basically offensive scrimmaging practice to get that offense tuned up. Number 81, Simpkins, is in at wide receiver along with number 4, Nightingale. Simpkins comes in tight to a 3rd tight end spot. Handoff inside. Number 18, Lionel Chapman from Gresham High School.
Looks like it's good enough for a first down. And I like this. Work on the running game. See if you can get the running game going. When you're ahead by 26 points, I don't think there's really much need to work on throwing the football. I mean, maybe a little bit, but, just use what your advantage is. Your advantage is you've got a huge advantage up front on the line of scrimmage, so why not use it? Why not grind it out a little bit?
Yeah, that's good to see. Although, as of last week, the passing game was questionable, but we've seen, I don't know how many touchdown passes today already. Passing game is back. Chapman making some moves. Got another first down, and boy, that running game's tough.
More room to roam there. So it doesn't matter who's got the ball back there. As long as there's room to roam, a Thunderbolt guy with the ball can just run right through that hole.
And we got 3 tight ends in there, counting Simpkins, because they line him out wide, and then they bring him in tight. And he's only 6'1", 185, but he seems to be very aggressive. And they're using him as that 3rd tight end. So who would the 2nd tight end be? Oh, the fullback. Simpkins comes in. Double tight. Pitch, Simpkins. Wide. Not Simpkins. Chapman.
I think that one's going to come back. That's probably going to be holding on Nightingale, the wide receiver, downfield. That's exactly what it is.
Holding.
Now, the great thing about playing high school rules, which is the base rules that we use in the Northwest Football League, is on a running play like that, they're going to mark the 10 yards off from where it happened, or if the ball was stopped behind that 10 yards from there. In the pros, they would just take that from the line of scrimmage and make it 1st and 20. So now instead of 1st and 20, it's 1st and about 13. So a fortunate thing there for the Thunderbolts.
Double tight end formation again. Harrison, the wide receiver now. Chapman open in the backfield. But that pass was intended for number 19, Aaron Severson. And he couldn't come up with it.
And Ivanov had all day to throw. He probably could have waited for his 5th or 6th option. Maybe even run it himself. That's how much time he had to throw on that play.
So it wasn't Harris, it was Severson, and he checks out. Nightingale's back in. But they're still going with Simpkins. And they keep moving him in at tight end. Will lines up to the right out of the backfield, and then Simpkins comes in to form the double tight. And Glenn Bell, number 25, continues to play fullback. Blocking ahead for Lionel Chapman at 5'7".
Yeah, but you don't need much size, or much small size, if you will, if you've got a big hole to run through like you did on that last play. Quite frankly, I hate to keep saying this. I sound like a broken record, but it's obvious that the Thunderbolts, their big advantage they're going to have all year long is going to be their offensive and defensive lines, especially the offensive line. They're just huge, and they're just road graders out there. They're just making huge holes for which the Thunderbolt running backs can run through. Until you can stop that, that's probably what they should be doing.
Well, now they come into 4 wide receivers, and the Jaguars don't know what to do. They're calling all kinds of signals out there. Harris checked in, and Bell went out to a slot, and the defense was going crazy. Unfortunately, the quarterback made absolutely no play on that. Ivanov threw it in the ground.
Looked like the ball slipped out of his hand. It was a quick out play, and it looked like Harris had a lot of room to run, but
we got a timeout on call by the Thunderbolts. The house enjoying the game from the sideline now. Got a rotation with 7 offensive linemen. And now the Thunderbolts so far ahead, the house is just happy to watch on this Saturday afternoon as his teammates get ready to try and punch it in again. They got 4th down, though, and 4th and 7. Ivanov looking downfield, got some time, running out of time, got a flag, and Ivanov goes down in a heap.
And if I'm the Jaguars, I'll refuse that penalty if it's holding, especially, and take the sack down to the 45-yard line rather than let them try to get another play off.
Back in business after finally they stopped the offense of the Thunderbolts on downs. And now they're going to try and get some points. Handoff. Bergey's in the backfield along with
Rosario and Simmons, all 3 of them.
Rosario. And so
they tried to delay up the middle, but somebody forgot to block the middle.
So it's 2nd down and about 14. And the Jaguars doing a little scrimmage into their own today against this tough Thunderbolts team. Pitch outside to Bible. I think his knee was down. Nice stop. Was that Rosario out there?
It was Rosario that got out there. It was also David Walker got out there to blow that up. It's one reason why on this level of football you try not to use the option, because maybe in college they're not quick enough, or there's too many options to cover. But in professional or semi-pro football, the defensive linemen are too good. They get penetration and blow up too many option plays, which is why you don't see pro teams running that. It's usually a college and high school type of offense. And there, Walker just came up. Forget about it. He wasn't going anywhere.
Third down now and a mile, 19 to go. Dickerson running for his life, in big trouble. He's going to go backwards. And now they're going to... That's a pick. Picked off. Hendricks set up by the entire defensive line.
And we can read them off as they go off the field. Berge, Kellis, Simmons, Gadbois, and Bowden, all of them. You were right. Dickerson was running literally for his life back there.
Well, that might have actually... So, actually, I don't know if that was a terrible play by Dickerson to throw it up. Their punting game's been terrible, or, rocky, let's say. And he was going to be sacked for 20 yards, so why not throw it up in the air and at least get some positive yards out of the deal? Thunderbolts ball.
Flag down on that one.
Gain of about 5 if it stands. Holding offense. So now the Thunderbolts and that big old line are racking up some holding penalties.
Besides points?
We haven't seen a lot of errors in the special teams and some of the other lack of polish penalties we've seen in previous games today. The Thunderbolts seem to be pretty well organized. But we have seen a lot of holding penalties.
2-minute warning. Or wait a minute, timeout.
Colorful metaphor. So now, Thunderbolts, 2:19 left, have another chance to score. It's first down and 15 after the holding penalty. Ivanov going to get sacked. He didn't have anywhere to throw, and he held on to the ball, which is good, but it was like number 88, Rob Preston, it looked like, with the sack.
And looked like he beat Big Bob Brown on that play.
Number 98, Toby Delgado, defensive end, 265, 240. So now we got the 2-minute warning.
So he played half a man over here now.
Second down now and about 20. After the sack and the penalty, so the Thunderbolt offense going in reverse now. Simpkins in at tight end now, first tight end, and the Thunderbolts have just one. Ivanov got some pressure from the backside, but he's got
Lionel Chapman
out of the backfield. They didn't cover him, apparently. He scored out of the backfield, and no one was there.
Big 33-yard gain on that one. That's after 2 plays that went right for the Jaguars, and that one didn't go very well.
Well, that's what you need when you're down second down and 20. You need a gain of 33.
Yeah, he was just wide open coming out of the backfield. You called that right. He wasn't accounted for in the defense somehow.
Chapman in the tailback and Bell is still in at fullback at 5'7". Although at 5'7", you do have a lot of leverage for blocking purposes, and that's what he's doing. Blocking pass to Harris, skipped off his fingertips, but I don't think he would have got more than a yard or 2 if he caught it. He might have got 5. He caught it around. It would have been around the 10-yard line, but the defender was right there.
And we might run out of tape in this game. I don't know why, but we seem to be getting all these incomplete passes, and I think we're an hour and 40 minutes already into this game, and we're not even at halftime yet.
25 and 19. Yeah.
Well, this is the most exciting part of the game, because if the score continues to separate, it could get out of hand. Our next home game will be at Hare Field in Hillsboro in 2 weeks, and that against the Bellingham Eagles, the undefeated Bellingham Eagles at this point.
And yet another penalty. This one's going to put the Thunderbolts in reverse.
Now, Bellingham last year, the Bellingham Eagles played the Thunderbolts in Bellingham in a really tough game. And I believe they beat the Bengals. They had a really good team last year, some players from Washington State University. Oh, Jordan had his fingers on it. The defender thought he pushed off, but it looked like a good offensive play to me.
Good pressure by somebody on the Jaguars from the backside. I can't see his number from here. Looks like number 40. Came from the backside and forced Ivanov to throw the ball a little bit more, or a little bit quicker than he wanted to.
Well, I would say there might be a little wind, but inside this bowl, with all these trees around, I don't know that there is a lot of wind down there on that field.
Yeah, I think it was just the backside pressure. You know, he starts to throw the ball and he got hit, and maybe it just airmailed the ball longer than it needed to be.
Now, Jordan made a nice try on it and did get his fingers on it. Ivanov looking to throw again. And he's got Harris. Harris is loose. Harris breaking tackles. Breaks like 2 or 3 tackles. And still didn't get the first down, but boy, that was an exciting football play.
And I think we're going to get a field goal attempt here because I see Jeff Wood trotting out onto the field. With a big lead like this, why go for it on 4th down? You know, get a little field goal practice out of this because, again, for some of these games where it might be close, you're going to need this.
Well, this is going to be a tough kick, Drew, from the near hash mark. The closer you get down to the goal line, the narrower that goal post is. And he's gonna place it about the 21 there. That looks like a tough kick.
Actually, it looked like the 17, but now probably make that the 22-yard line where they're going to place that. Or wait a minute. Or did they just wave that off? Let's see. The white hat was waving his flag as in no penalty, and that's what he's doing again. So, not sure.
Maybe he heard me call it the 22, and he wanted to make sure he got it right.
Make sure you got it right. It actually looks like Ryan Ivanov, the backup quarterback in the holder, is setting up at the 17-yard line. That would make it a 27-yarder.
And that's a pretty narrow goalpost from that perspective for Woods to hit. But he looks like he got it. Drilled it through. And there's no fence to clear. So the Thunderbolts clicking on all cylinders now. Defense playing well, offense playing very well, and the special teams playing well with the return of last year's special teams MVP Jeff Wood, who may be between kicking jobs in professional football right now, but we're glad to have him here today. And so the Thunderbolts lead 41-12 over. So Vandenacker now in to kick off. Brian Vandenacker gets underneath that one. And the Jaguars able to handle it, but I don't think he's going to get very far. No, he's breaking some tackles, and there's some blocking out there, and he does. Tackled late out of bounds by Jason Wachnick, number 22, and that might have been a penalty. It tackled him clear over on the sidelines. Well, this is going to end the half here, Drew. They got
a penalty-free play, and they're going to take the knee.
Penalty-free play?
Yes, a penalty-free play. If there's a penalty on the last play of the half and it's accepted, then you would continue the half for another play until you have a penalty-free play.
So now we got halftime and the Thunderbolts with a big lead. And we will check you after the locker room at halftime. It's 41 Thunderbolts, 12 King County Jaguars. And we're rolling. Vandenacker kicking deep. Jaguars trying to get out of a big hole. Number 6, Mike Dwyer on a nice return out to the 32. Looked like Dressler on the stop, number 57.
Yeah.
Clyde Aaron Dressler.
Is that his name?
It is now. Clyde the Glide. Yeah. Why not?
I see. I thought you were telling me that he's one of those guys that doesn't like his first name and he goes by his middle name as his first name. I've met quite a few people like that in my lifetime.
Well, he's the heart and soul of this defense. Had a big sack in the first half.
The whole defense just played pretty well, and the offense for that matter. I mean, somebody's got to be doing well if you're ahead 41-12.
Here comes Clyde the Glide on the blitz. Swing outside. That was number 3, Derek Smith, who caught that. And he was pushed out of bounds at about the 38-yard line, gain of 7 by number 8, David Walker.
Actually, I think they're marking that at the 40. And they're saying that he was knocked backwards inbounds, so no clock stoppage. Keep the clock rolling.
2nd and 2.
Hey, do I see Sal Corona in there, too?
I thought I did too. Number 30, who got hurt last week. Pass is complete. That was number 8, Steve Fisher, listed as a QB, but he didn't get any yardage.
No, he got 1 yard, and it was a good thing Anthony Davis was there to cover after the receiver had slipped and fall down. Otherwise, they would have got a first down.
What happened to Shampoo?
So, gain of a half, and it's 3rd down and a yard and a half. Split the difference. Shampoo is out. I think something else is in, body oil or...
Well, they're in the 4 wide receiver run and shoot type set right now.
Handoff inside. Defense is there. Berge and friends. Dressler and
DeVray
59
Simmons.
Hilliard.
DeVray Simmons was the first guy in there and wrapped him up.
Simmons is number 44.
And they came out in the 4 wide receiver set, the run and shoot set, and they tried the draw, and there was nothing there. Absolutely nothing.
There was no paper to draw on.
Well, yeah, I don't understand that with the draw play against this defensive line.
Especially
when you're
since
outmanned up front.
Especially since they haven't been able to run the ball up the gut at all game long.
And now another attempted punt, which went straight out of bounds and netted about 10 yards maybe.
Well, it looks like they're marking it at the 48, so we'll give them 16 yards. Or wait a minute. No, you're right. It is 10 yards. It's exactly 10 yards.
From the down marker.
10 yards.
So the Jaguars might be better off to just throw it deep on 4th down and hope that they get intercepted.
Yeah, I think that would only work once or twice, though. After a while, the Thunderbolts would get wise and just let the thing drop. Just let the thing drop to the ground so they can go back to where the ball was snapped. So
they'll save that one for the 4th quarter. First down, Thunderbolts at their own 45. Sparks back in. Has Harris open, but the ball's too high.
And there's a flag down, and it looks like the referee threw it himself. Let's see what he's going to call. Oh, he called tripping. That's not a call you often see in this league. He called tripping. Old leg whip.
Looked like Harris might have kind of hurt himself extending for that ball, or got hit in the ribs when he was up there. But he's staying in.
And that's a pretty big penalty. That's 15 yards for that tripping.
Glenn Bell checks back in at fullback for Casey Gallagher, and call him the half Casey. Half case? Whatever. I'm getting worse.
Well, we have time to explain it. You can tell us why you would call him that.
Well, because he's 5'7", 180 pounds, and Casey Gallagher's 6'2", 235 is mostly it.
I gotcha.
Actually, he's 5'10", 235, but still. Sparks, back to throw. Got a man. It's Bell, the fullback, and he's got about 8 yards back of what they lost on that penalty, but it's going to be second and still very long.
And I don't mean to sound critical, but why is Wade Sparks back in the game with a 29-point lead in the 3rd quarter?
Well, Sparks is a pretty young guy, and I imagine the coaches want to get him some more game experience before the next critical games come up. Thunderbolts playing the Bellingham Eagles 2 weeks from tonight at home in Hillsboro.
My only concern is that he would get some sort of a freak injury and not play for the whole rest of the season.
Oh, nice throw, nice catch. Sparks nails Will, who's wide open. And he catches it. He puts everything into catching it. was a little behind him maybe, and he caught it and sat down on it.
Big 22-yard gain, and again, the Jaguars staying with the zone pass defense, and as I mentioned before, a good quarterback can just tear a zone to ribbons because all you need are good, smart receivers that go into the seams to the zones, and they're wide open, and if you can get the ball to them, you move the ball down the field rather quickly.
Well, and when you have this 1,700-pound offensive line to deal with to try and get any kind of pressure on that quarterback, those guys are going to be in trouble. Handoff. And that looks like number 18, Chapman. I didn't see a flag, and that was a big run.
It looks about 14, 15 yards. And again, you just alluded to the raw tonnage of the offensive line. They almost weigh a ton, don't they? A ton is supposed to be, 2,000 pounds? And they're pretty darn close. They're about 1,600 pounds if you put all the heaviest guys in there all at once. So it's almost a ton.
They
That's
probably
a lot
would
of
have a ton if they brought in their sixth man at tight end and threw him in there.
Pretty darn close, if you ask me.
Will is the tight end to the right. Complete to Harris. And it looked like they almost stripped the ball away from him, but Harris hangs on and picks up about 6.
And I like that call. That's a good short pass. Don't take any chances. Don't give the Jaguars any momentum with an easy interception return for a touchdown. Throw something safe, something short. Let the clock continue to roll. You're ahead by a lot of points. You don't need to be in a hurry to score even more points.
Well, yeah, the Thunderbolts kind of out of character the first couple of times we've seen them this year. They have tried to live and breathe by the running game, passing short offense. Bell on the carry for 10. And tonight we've seen them throwing all the deep passes. We had 3 touchdown passes in the first quarter. Lots of passing yards. And Thunderbolts looking like the Thunderbolts of yore instead of today. So that's good to see, though. It's good to see that the Thunderbolts having some balance this year. We were kind of wondering if they did.
Because we know that in years past, Thunderbolts have been very, very dependent upon the passing game. And it probably wasn't until last year, till Glenn Vereen had 1,000 yards rushing, that this team realizes that they could move the ball on the ground and that it will help set up their passing game in later games this season.
Sparks got some pressure. Throws the pick, and he's going to be gone. Maybe Sparks can get him if he has the right angle, and he does. Nice play by Sparks, but a nicer play by number 2, Ernie Poplos.
Now there's a flag way back there that may come back. We'll have to see what they call. It looks like it's about the line of scrimmage. Well, it's the umpire who's talking to the referee, so that may actually end up standing.
Clipping declined by the Jaguars. And that was a nice play by Wade Sparks because it looked like number 2 could be easily gone. The only skill player in the neighborhood was Sparks, and he picked a perfect angle and made the tackle.
Well, it looked like Chapman also was ready to run him down, so even if Sparks couldn't get to him, Chapman was closing ground fast. But Sparks getting to him only allowed him to get to the 48-yard line of the Thunderbolts. We see that play a lot of times where it's returned for a touchdown and nobody's within the neighborhood of the guy who intercepts the ball.
Well, I thought maybe the guy with the ball was a little faster, but he got caught by the quarterback, and like you said, maybe would have been caught by the running back as well.
There's Berge again. Berge and Dressler. I think we should just start calling Berge the stud because he just does so many things well. I mean, I can't think of anything better to call him.
Not the stud. It sounds.
The stud. Is the stud taken? I think it's a go. 2-1, Scott.
And they lost a yard on that play, and again, that's why the option doesn't work on this level of football. The guys are too big and too quick on this level to do that on a consistent basis.
Big pass rush that time. Number 5, Akeem McAllister, broke loose. He was covered by it was David Walker, number 8. Or no, that was number 30, Sal Corona. And he got loose at the last moment, but the ball, I guess, was overthrown.
Well, again, it was another one of those deals where the Thunderbolts, or defensive line, got in and made him throw the ball a little